What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Counterpoint. I want to talk about the situation that happened in Florida that's got social media kind of in the buzz about stand your ground and the woman and the man who was jawjacking, as we used to call it, in the parking lot of Walmart, going back and forth over a parking space that ultimately allowed for this man to foolishly lose his life in a parking lot of Walmart. I want to talk about that situation because I seen in the comments of a video about this, someone asked the question, why didn't she drive away? And somebody else said she didn't have to because Florida is a stand your ground state. I'm in North Carolina. It is also, I believe, since 2011, a stand your ground state. But I want to talk about that. The first thing I want to do is I want to talk about one of the reasons why social media has this in a buzz. Let's be honest. Women are going to be on board because finally a woman has stood up and not let a man talk to her or treat her a certain kind of way. This is the practical side. We know that's the truth. And then black women who are tired or feel that they're tired of the way maybe a Caucasian man or Caucasian people have treated a black woman. They also are going to be on board with her because you didn't take no mess from the white man. And then black folk in general are going to be on board because, again, we've been under the thumb 400 years of oppression still going on to the day. All the yada yada yada. Some not all. Some black people feel they're gonna be on board. We finally got one. Blah blah blah. Okay. As of the time I'm making this video, no charges has been filed against this woman. I personally believe that charges will be filed. Now, whether she's found guilty in jury, court of law, can't tell you that. But I do believe that charges will be filed. And the reason that I believe there will be filed, because again, all of us who are making speculation and giving our opinion, making videos and reels about it, we see the videos or short clips from people's cell phones of what's going on and what happened. So we see this part and we see that part, we see this part, we see that part. What we do see is when she gets out of the vehicle with the firearm already in her hand. You have to keep that in mind. She gets out with the firearm in her hand. So, let's talk about what stand your ground really means. Stand your ground is not a law that says if you get into an argument with someone that you legally don't have to stop arguing with them. You can stand your, because that's kind of how we want it to seem. In other words, we want to interpret stand your ground as I stood on business. You bother me, I ain't got to move. The law support me, and if you want to take it there, we could take it there because I'm from a stand your ground state, and that's not what stand your ground. That's bravado, but that ain't what stand your ground is. Stand your ground kicks in when a person believes that there is an imminent threat of death and or great bodily harm to them or someone else. They exercise force. They're not obligated to retreat. They don't have a duty to retreat like some states. Some states, back in the day, somebody break into your house, you had to retreat to the furthest corner before you could engage. You have to do that. Stand your ground once a person believes imminent threat of death and or great bodily harm, they don't have a duty to retreat. But you have to keep that in mind. That's when stand your ground kicks in. A person has to believe imminent threat of death or great bodily harm. Keep that in mind. Because when she got out the car, she already had the weapon out. And in my opinion, as like everybody else has an opinion, a prosecutor is going to want to know, or even the way things go, there's about three things that somebody's going to want to know, which is why I believe at least charges will be filed to take it to court to get these answers. Number one, the lady. I believe there was imminent threat of danger of death to me or great bodily harm to me. That's number one. Number two, what we don't have, which is the cameras from the Walmart parking lot. That's going to play a big part in what happens, because they have to take what she said and compare it to what the cameras show. At what point, lady, ma'am, did you feel this imminent threat upon you? Did you believe it to be true? At what point? And her answer has to match with what the cameras show. You can't say because he was somewhere in the parking lot and I couldn't see him, I felt like he was. You can't say that. That's not imminent. That's not imminent death. Can't say that. You have to say at the moment the event occurred, at the moment the shot rang out, this is what I believe was upon me. And the prosecutors and everybody else is going to already have examined those cameras to see how far away was this person. So we going by the fact, well, she said back down. No, he went away. Then he came back and she said back down, and he went away. And then she said back away from me. And then he backed away. And if you, in one clip, she even follows him with the gun still drawn while he's going moving that direction. Then he comes back and then finally, so that's the part. Did it make sense to me? No. Somebody draw down on me. You ain't got to worry about me. Mostly, hey, I'm out of here. Hey, you can have a whole parking lot. I'm matter of fact, you can have a whole store. Walmart there's a Walmart 6 miles away from every other Walmart. You got to worry about me. In this situation, they didn't go that way. Okay, common sense, sure. Imminent threat, a little different. So you have the statement of the person, then you have the evidence that we don't see. So we're just making opinions and videos about it on social media. We don't see the real evidence. The real evidence is going to match, is going to try to connect with what she said and with what we see on this video. Do they line up? And trust me, they're going to go again, like I said, the size of the person, the even the gender. Was there anything in his hand? Was he trying to rush? Was there threats being made as he went away, came back? Did any witnesses hear him say something like, when I get my hands on you, did they hear anything when she was on the phone before it all went down? Did they catch anything where he said, what I'm going to do if I get you? What's his tone? What's her tone? All this going to come into effect. That's the second thing that I think comes into play. And the third thing that comes into play is they're going to have to ask, would a reasonable person under the same circumstances have come to the same conclusion of imminent death or great bodily harm? Those are the three things that I think is going to come into play, which is what's going to produce the charges that I believe is going to be there, simply because I'm looking at the fact from the clips that I have, which again, like I said, we don't have hardly any of the evidence we need. We just making video. But from what I saw, she gets out, phone, gun in hand. Even the way she closed the door, In my opinion, in my opinion, it do not look like a person that is in fear of imminent a threat of imminent death or great bodily. But my opinion, I'm not her. I can't tell you what she believed. I can't tell you what she felt. We just looking at. But we do know when she got out. In the initial clips that I have seen, you couldn't even see him in the frame. So at what point then do you believe you was under this that made you brandish a weapon? Those are questions that somebody's going to want to ask, or prosecutor's going to want to ask. And that's why, in my opinion, charges will be filed. Let's find out.